Learner. It took me about 6 or 7 years, but I'm running for Attorney General. Let me tell you a little bit about my background, because I think it's important to know what makes the next AG tick, because that Attorney General is going to have a very, very important role in fighting for you and fighting for New York. I'm the son of immigrants. My parents came here from Ireland in the early 50s, raised 7 kids. They were Irish Catholic, used the rhythm method, couldn't keep a beat. 7 kids. I'm the oldest. My dad was a union carpenter. I'm a proud product of a union household. My dad was out of work quite a bit. I grew up in a household that lived on unemployment for a while. I grew up in a household that ran out of unemployment for a while. And I ended up going to college at the NYS Naval Academy, in part because it was free, in part because I wanted to serve my country. I'm a very proud American, son of immigrants. I went to flight school, was a naval flight officer, flew against Soviet submarines during the Cold War, had pretty good assignments in the Pentagon and the White House. But I want to tell you about the first of an important change. I went to law school at night while I was in Washington, because I thought about other ways I could help people. I became a lawyer, moved back to New York after 8 years of active duty, and I was at a firm called Paul Weiss. While I was there, it was a big corporate law firm. I did a lot of pro bono work, and I was actually co-chair of the Housing Court project, where I spent a lot of time in Housing Court representing poor tenants from Upper Manhattan. I also won a Thurgood Marshall Award for my work on behalf of death row inmates, and was one of the first lawyers to use DNA to prove that the evidence used to convict someone was not accurate. I then went to the U.S. Attorney's Office, so I've been a prosecutor, I've tried cases, but the Attorney General is just not a super prosecutor office. It does other things. It defends the state and it brings affirmative claims. I'm the only one running who's tried a criminal case as a prosecutor, defended a corporate client as a defense lawyer at a trial, and also brought some of the most significant plaintiffs' work trials in the country's history, including WorldCom. Many of you have heard of WorldCom. It was one of the biggest meltdowns. After that case, Bloomberg Markets Magazine called me Wall Street's new nemesis. Why? Because my little firm took on 17 powerful Wall Street investment banks. They offered us $35 million at the beginning to go away. I went to trial in that case. We got $6.2 billion back. So I know how to take on Wall Street. I know how to take on Goldman Sachs, and we need the next AG to be able to step in from day one and keep an eye on Wall Street. It's our most important industry, but we have to make sure we keep it growing by keeping it honest. I want to tell you about another change. After I left the U.S. Attorney's Office, I went to a big firm, made partner in a big corporate firm. I wasn't very happy there. I was defending corporate misconduct. They are entitled to their defense, but not me. So I went to the small plaintiffs firm, and I represented, the firm had represented the African Americans in Texaco. We did a lot of employment discrimination work, and I worked on behalf of union pension funds and public pension funds like the New York State Common Retirement Fund. The entire time I was a lawyer, until about 5 years ago, I stayed in the Navy Reserve because I love my country. I was selected for command of a squadron. I was selected for captain. I retired as a Navy captain after 30 years of service 5 years ago. I left my firm in October to run for Attorney General. I've never done that before. I did it to do 3 things. I want to be part of helping Andrew Cuomo clean up Albany. We need somebody outside, independent, fresh thinking, someone who's taken on tough assignments outside of Albany, who can bring that thinking to Albany. Second, as I said before, keeping an eye on Wall Street. And the third reason I'm running is to work for families like the one I grew up in. People who can't afford a lawyer. People who need the Attorney General to bring those civil rights cases, those workers' rights cases, to keep an eye on police departments that are profiling, et cetera, et cetera. I intend to be that lawyer. I think New Yorkers are going to hire a new lawyer in November. They ought to hire the best lawyer available. And I will fight for you. I'm happy to take questions.
Louder.
I have noticed that people who run for Attorney General, they're in the same position as Charles Rangel. He has 4 apartments that he illegally acquired. In order for him to acquire those apartments, he has to go through a department in which those apartments have to be approved and designated to him. How come when they mention that issue, they do not mention the head of the department that facilitated those apartments to Charles Rangel? This all should be put away.
I think that is something that's being probed by folks in D.C. and elsewhere. But I can tell you this, I'm running primarily to be part of trying to clean up government. And I don't have any baggage. No one, I got put on the ballot last week at the convention, which was a pleasant surprise for me. But I'm the only person running who's never been in an elective or a point of office. And that means the only people I'm going to be responsible to are the people who vote me in. And I will be, for example, there's something called the Martin Act that's used on Wall Street, very powerful device, law used by the Attorneys General to go after Wall Street. I think we should have the equivalent of that for the Attorney General for political corruption in New York. Right now, the Attorney General of our state has to get permission to do a political corruption investigation. You have to get permission from the governor or a referral. I don't think we should have that, and I think Andrew Cuomo agrees with that. We should unshackle the Attorney General, send me to Albany. I don't know anybody anything. And by the way, I'm a loyal, lifelong Democrat, a proud Democrat, a union Democrat. And you spend 30 years in the Navy and you're still a Democrat, you are committed, okay? Not that it's easy to be a Democrat here, but you all, imagine being challenged constantly. I'd say one thing on Friday afternoon at the law firm in New York, and I'd be considered a conservative. I'd say the same thing on Saturday at reserve duty, and they think I'm a Marxist. But I'm a lifelong Democrat, and we haven't done a good job of running the state. There are good people in Albany. Again, Eric Schneiderman is one of them. I just don't think he's the right person to be AG next, as much as I respect his work. And in fact, all of the candidates are very good. But I'm a practicing lawyer. I've done all the things that an AG has to do in terms of criminal work, defense work, and plaintiff's work. I've served my country 30 years in public service. It's not some throwaway line for me. 18 years I would leave my family and my law practice and 1 or 2 weekends a month go up to Maine, pull on a flight suit, and practice sinking submarines. I did it because I love the Navy. I did it because I don't particularly like submarines. But I did it because I believe in public service. And this is my next assignment. Send me to Albany, and I'll take care of those kinds of things for you, because that's really why I want to go.